So, you want to get started with Linux, host on your own system, or maybe join the Arch community? Sure, that's good enough. But I like a code that's like that. Even if you don't have any motives to use Linux. So today I will teach you how to get started with Linux and share some useful knowledge for beginners. So if you want to start using Linux, you will need a distribution. You can think of a distro as a variation of Linux, each with different styles, package managers, and intended uses. I usually recommend 5 distros for boot starting, like Debian, Zorin OS, Pop! OS, Ubuntu, but my top recommendation goes to Linux Mint. It's a good distro, it's solid, so I will install it to demonstrate and teach some things that Linux can do. Requisites. You will need a PC with 4GB of RAM, 20GB of storage for a minimum install, and a dual-core CPU. You will also need a pendrive stick with at least 4GB of space with backup as you are going to format it. Now, I'm going to download Linux Mint from the official website. By the way, it's linked in the description. So click on download and you will see 3 options, which are called flavors. These are different desktop environments for the same system. For example, XFCE is more lightweight than Cinnamon. So if you have a netbook or a low-end PC, I recommend download XFCE. Otherwise, you can download any flavor that you want. I'm going with Cinnamon. Now, scrolling down, you can either download the ISO from a server near your country or from the global server. After downloading the ISO, you will need to flash it onto the USB stick. I recommend using Balena Etcher to do this. It's simple and open source. Just select your ISO, select the USB stick, and flash. But again, remember to back up your data. Once that's done, restart your computer. You will need to access the BIOS or the UEFI, which can be done by pressing some keys like F2, F10, F11, F12, S, or others, depending on your computer. If you did everything right, you will see a screen that might look like this. Make sure to leave the boot order with the USB stick at the top of the list. After this, you will enter in the live environment. Essentially, everything you're seeing is running by your RAM, and nothing you do will be saved. Now we can finally begin the installation. Click on Install Linux Mint. Here you can select your language, select the keyboard layout. I'm using a Brazilian keyboard, so I will choose EBMT2, testing the layout. Here I recommend installing the multimedia codecs to ensure everything works fine. Now, things can get tricky and confusing. Depending on what you have in your computer, you will see different options like dual booting Windows with Linux, installing alongside other distributions, or just embracing the entire disk. I'm demonstrating on my own computer, so I have 3 OSs, Windows, Arch, and Kali Linux. So if I click Install Linux Mint alongside them, I will need to share some storage from one of my Linux installations. In this case, I will split Kali Linux storage with Linux Mint. Alternatively, I could use the Advanced Partitioning tool to manually change my partitions where I can see all my operating systems. For now, I will use the split method for this installation. So let's click on install now. Just be sure of what you're doing and what space you are going to install it. Click on continue and now wait a little bit. Now select your country. Not going to show this part. I'm going to put BirdBR. Computer's name. Bird means sounds like a good name. Putting my super secure password, confirming it, and now we need to wait. Yay, we finished the installation. Now just remove the USB stick, reboot, and voila! Now here, there are some things you need to know to start your journey as a Linux user. The first thing is learning how to use the terminal, because in some situations, you will need to install programs, configure some system settings, and much more. So let's open the terminal by clicking here. Now, for installing a program, for example, you need to type sudo, stands for super user do apt install, and the name of the program. I want to install Steam, so just type Steam, press enter, put your super secure password, and there it is. Steam is installed. To remove, just replace install by remove, but I'm not going to do that. So for creating directories in the terminal, you can use the make directory command, mkdir, and the name of the directory. For example, test. Press enter, there is it. Let's list it using the ls command, and here we have test. To enter in the directory, just type change directory, cd, and the name of the directory, test. if we use the ls command here, we see that we don't have anything on this directory. So for testing, we can use the touch command to create a file, hello.txt. Now if we use the ls command, we see that we have that file. For editing files, text files, you need a text editor. I'd say that for beginners, there's one perfect, popular and user-friendly editor. That's Nano. I love using it for quick tasks. So let me show how to use it. First, I already created a file, so we just need to type nano, name of the file. We can use tab to autocomplete it and press enter. And there is it. All the commands are displayed and I can tap whatever I want. Hello guys. To save, press Ctrl+O, confirm, Ctrl+X. There's it. We can see the content of the file by using the cat command. Cat. Let's use tab to autocomplete it. And we have our text file here. On the moment I'm recording this video, sadly there are many programs that have not been ported to Linux, and yes, includes Adobe programs, but we have some solutions. The first thing I want to show is Wine, basically a program that let us run Windows programs on Linux. So let's install it with the sudo apt install Wine. Let's press enter. And to use it, just type wine and in the program you want to execute. To test if wine is working, just type notepad.exe, wait for the wine configuration. And there is it. We have the notepad from Windows running on Linux. For people who want to play games on Linux, follow my advice. If you want to play Steam games, you can activate the Steam Play on the settings of Steam. You can use Lutris for GOG games. For games on Epic Games, you can use the Heroic Launcher, and for playing Roblox, you can use Sober. I recommend checking this site, roeuncheatyet.com, to check if a game with uncheat works. And that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and that you can get started using Linux with this guide.